父さんってこんなに目悪かったんだ。いやー、吸血鬼。
My friends, we just got done watching Call of the Night Season 2, Episode 8, and it was super predictable. You know, how do you say it? I don't want to rain on anybody's parade, right? Because I've been pretty negative this season. I just frankly, like, I just gotta be real. I don't think this season of Call of the Night has been up to par on what Season 1 offered, right? Which was simply just this boy who was lost, confused, and didn't fit in the world. And trying to seek some solace at night. Because that was the only time he could feel free when others weren't around. And through that, he discovered Nazuna. And Nazuna, being a vampire, opened up his world in more ways than one. And most of the season was just about them finding out who they are separately, but together as well. Sharing moments like, being a part of Nazuna's, massage parlor, helping different customers, helping her find targets, changing it to where she, he's her only supply of blood, and having romantic feelings spur between them, and having the occasional other vampire come between that, as 𝐒𝐻 makes a vow that in 1 year he will be turned, as he can continue to discover what love is together with somebody that it's obvious that he loves in Nazuna. But the show has decided to overly introduce overly, not specify, but overly pivot to Hatsuka and Kabura and Nico and Sari and Mahiru, all the side characters, which are pretty good. But it's focused a little too much on that, and I really thought it had a good thing going when it was just 𝐻𝐻, Nazuna, Akira, right, being the girl who likes 𝐻𝐻 and who could be the semblance of his humanity that he wants to kind of hold on to. And then, I think Mahiru and Sari are okay as, additional characters there. And I think the whole cast is okay. Having the vampires, again, make appearances, but not be the sole focus like Kaburo was. Then the show decided to throw in Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Anko, which I was like, okay, it makes sense that somebody knows that vampire exists and kind of like hunts them on a professional level or whatever else. And at some point, I think maybe last episode or the one before, I was like, I bet this girl that Nazuna, because they went into a big flashback, and now we have 2 episodes that were dedicated to flashbacks. Which I've just found funny because at this point, it's like, what hasn't Nazuna done at night, right? Like, night school, night college, night job, night this, I'm like, okay, whatever, dude. But I was like, I bet this Anko girl is the girl that Nazuna was friends with. And yeah, sure as hell enough, she ends up being the Buffy the Vampire Slayer. But her whole, PTSD past and this thing that she has against vampires really was kind of self-inflicted in a way. She meets her first friend in Nazuna at like, extracurricular school, night school, whatever. And basically she falls in love with Nazuna, girl on girl love, whatever. Hey, no judgment zone. And she begins following her dad, and her dad's cheating and all this other stuff. And by the end of it, she's like, okay, I'll be turned by Nazuna to get this different perspective in life. So she was going to become the first one to be turned by Nazuna. And instead, we find out that her dad is actually a vampire and he was craving blood. And in a moment of just, I don't know, awakenness or whatever, he punches Anko and completely absorbs her mom, and then comes after her. And she F's him up and puts him in the sunlight, and like, bro just withers away. And that's her like, I'm gonna get vampires back, how dare they? And it's like, it's kind of silly, And again, I want to make sure that I'm not raining on anybody's parade. And if I'm going too negative, please, click off, put how much you love the episode in the comments or whatever. But it's just silly to me. Again, I want to be very clear to you. to me, you can feel whatever way. I'm my channel is about being real, and these are my real feelings. You don't have to agree with them. You know, you could be on the opposite side of it. You can love everything the show could do no wrong. That's completely valid. I am just like I am on the party and on the side of the show is doing so much good, and then like this season is just taking a weird turn. But you know, her vendetta against vampires is basically to go and kill Nazuna, even though it really isn't Nazuna's fault. And more so, I think she also wants to kill whoever was involved turning her father at some point. But it's all kind of a moot point, you know, because it's like, does it really matter, you know? Because now this Anko girl, who, mind you, is a sexy character, by the way. I like her quite a bit. But this Anko girl, who isn't too far apart in age with Nazuna, right, has this vendetta against vampires. She wants to kill Nazuna? Question mark. She also got to see the good of vampires in Nazuna. She got to see that they don't actually, you know, just absorb and kill everybody like monsters. She got to see the nasty side of vampires, which, if you take the word vampire away, there's a nasty side of every human being, right? Like if you look into, you know, just what's going on in the world right now, you're going to find serial killers and rapists and people starting wars and people blowing up stuff and people killing. So there's always, evil always exists. It doesn't mean that because, you know, again, because there are vampires that each one is evil, just because one is, right? It's the same thing like, oh, maybe you hate the police. Just because one is a terrible piece of crap human being doesn't mean everyone is. So you can't always blanket statement. I guess, I don't even know. Or would you consider vampires like a, I don't know, I guess like a race? You know, you can't be like, oh, you're a vampire, you're a lichen, you're a siren, you're a werewolf, which are kind of lichens as well too. You're a this. Because you're a this, you have to be evil, right? Oh, you're a demon, you have to be evil. I don't know. It's one of the things to where I'm like, yeah, I don't know how I feel about this storyline. I just want them to get back to what season 1 vibes had. And I just feel like we're getting further and further away as they try to involve more story and more plot. And I'm like, that's not what I'm here for, personally. I'm here for the best art, you know, top 10 art in anime. And a story about a vampire and this kid falling in love. That's what I'm here for. And all the fun antics and things that come with that. Maybe you feel different. Let me know in the comments below, guys. But this was Anko's origin story, apparently. And yeah, I thought it was silly. Those are my thoughts. All right, I'll see you guys next week for episode number 9. As we finish the last 9, 10, 11, 12. The last 4 episodes of the season. All right, peace out, my friends.